Okay, so the integumentary system, integumentary, literally say it out loud with me. You can see it's broken up there. The integumentary system is your skin. It is your skin. It is an organ. Technically, it's an organ. It's your largest organ because your skin's your largest part of your body. So there are four different types of tissues here. As you guys, again, you guys should have done the reading before you do this video, and that's true for all of these. Do the reading. This makes sense of the reading. Okay. So you do the reading. Some of that's pretty scientific. Not that doesn't make that much sense. Yada yada yada. This helps out with the rest of it. So there are four different types of tissues. You have the epithelial, you have connective, muscle, and nerve. Think about it in this way as well. Uh, if your skeleton is like the structures of a house, um, it's the core of it. It's the base stuff. Like you talk about like a load bearing wall. It's the load bearing stuff, right? It's the skeleton. Your muscle systems, like all this stuff here, like the insulation and the furnace and the air ducts, and that's what keeps the house actually working and functioning, and it exists. This is the skin. This is the integumentary system. It's the stuff that goes on top, right? It keeps the water out. It looks nice. That's that. Okay. So I'm gonna use this house analogy a lot for this module. Um, so your skin is multi-layered. It's three layers. There's the epidermis, which is that's the end of your skin. If you guys have ever taken a baby clip or like a safety pin, you ever like thread it through your skin? It doesn't hurt. You feel the pressure, but it doesn't hurt. You're threading it to the epidermis. If you were to screw up and go too deep, oh shit! Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to swear. That would hurt. That's your dermis there. And there's these all. If you're looking at this diagram here, they're all a bunch of different things. Where's my laser pointer actually? Yeah, laser pointer. So like if you're looking at these, for example, these are nerve cells, and you can see that there's oxygenated blood going in and deoxygenated blood going out. No, it's not actually blue. We'll talk about that later. They just do this for graphs. And even if you like look at your hand, like, well, maybe you'll be able to see that. Oh, but it's blue. It's blue. No, your blood is not blue. Don't. That's a myth. Here's your hair follicle. So there's different things in this, but ultimately, epidermis, bunch of dead skin. Dermis is a bunch of like fresh new skin cells filled with other things in there, as you can see, pores, nerves, blood vessels, etc. Then there's a subcutaneous layer. So again, epidermis is mostly filled with keratin. That's the waterproof stuff, and it protects the stuff underneath. Those are dead skin cells. That's your epidermis. Here's a bunch of different things, right? I'm not going to fully expect you to know all this stuff. The big thing that you probably should be able to really point out is like a nerve, for example. Um, but there's sweat glands, there's sensory receptors. We're going to talk a lot about those later. You have hair shafts, capillaries, so on and so forth. There's a lot of different stuff, right? We don't have to worry about that. So again, your epidermis, the outside layer, contains the cells that continuously divide by mitosis. You'll learn about that in biology 30 to replace cells. I'm just going over the most important stuff here. So again, this is like that. Oh, sorry, no, this one here, epidermis dead cells. What do you think dust is in your house? Most of it's that. Most of it's your dead skin cells. And we also have dust mites. So let's move a little bit deeper now to the dermis. Now, this is below the epidermis. This is the thickest part. This consists all those different like extra things, right? Sweat glands, hair follicles, sensories, nerves, and so on and so forth. And then below that is that subcutaneous layer, which is it's just fat. It's fat. Helps you keep heat, right? Um, if you ever had a really nasty cut, especially in your finger, it's really easy to get that. It's a really easy way to actually see all those layers. If you see the fat, you know it's a really bad cut. So structure of the skin, hair follicles. So these grow out of those little cavities, hair cells, and these have sebaceous glands, which lubricate the skin and the hair. So these glands here, this hair follicle, have any of you ever like pulled them out? Like I have a bad habit. I actually pick sometimes. You can actually see like the tail end of that. You can see that follicle and it's like covered with something, right? If you've ever watched any of those videos of like those bald men who go to Turkey and they get the surgeries, some people like that as ASMR. You can actually see them do that. They pull it out. Sorry, they pull it out usually either the back or butt, and then they implant them in. That's what that is. Um, Acne. something most people experience. Most of it's just due to age, teenage. That occurs when the glands produce too much oil, which blocks the pores. That's what it is. That's why you usually get some type of an acid. You rub your face with it, and it breaks up that oil and lets the pores breathe, right? So why do we have skin systems? What is it good for? Well, three things. You need to know these three things. Temperature regulation. It helps keep you warm, or it's like 40 degrees outside. You're gonna sweat. You're gonna sweat galore. I sweat a lot. So temperature regulation, both cooling and warm, sorry, both cooling and retaining heat. Vitamin production. What do you mean? Vitamin production. What does that mean? The sun, vitamin D. How do you think you get it? You sit in the sun, hits your skin, you absorb it. And then protection and senses. What do you mean protection? Well, protects me from the outside environment, right? Um, I can pour a bunch of diseases over my hands, and generally speaking, I'm gonna be fine unless there's a cut. Then bad things happen. And senses. Ooh, that's hot. Ooh, that's cold. You can touch yourself, you can feel something, right? So there's a lot of different senses involved with that. Again, you're hot, you're sweat. If you're cold, you get goosebumps. That's one thing, but also it helps retain that heat. Vitamin production, again, your vitamin D is formed through from those UV rays. Your body converts them. In the winter, yes, I'm literally talking to you right now. You need a supplement. I take a supplement. Everyone should be taking a supplement. Want to know why you feel like crap in November, December, January, February? Because you're not getting enough vitamin D. No one in the freaking country does in the winter because it's so dark here and so cold. So you should be taking one of those. It is $2 for a year's supply at Shoppers Drug Mart right now. Go get some. Again, look at that little like pin needle here. Like, look, if you're really looking at this, that's going through the epidermis, dead skin cells there, right? But again, it communicates a lot of information to you, both temperature but pressure. Temperature and pressure are really, really big there, of course. Um, so what happens if you get damaged, right? We've all gotten a paper cut. We've all cut ourselves while cutting something. Maybe you fell on a bike when you was a kid, you scraped, whatever it is. But your skin obviously repairs itself. That said, I mean, I actually want you to literally look at your hands right now. How many of you have scars there? I have a couple I can even see right now, right? So it has the ability to repair itself, but it's a little weird. It's not a perfect system, right? So how does that work? How does you work? How do you actually repair your skin? That is an important question that we're going to be going through here. So the first thing to know is that what does it happens when you get a cut or a scrape? So it goes deep into the epidermis here, and that causes problems. If it's too deep, you might start to bleed. You ever get a cut but you don't bleed? Didn't go into the it didn't go into the dermis, or it did go into the dermis and it missed all the blood vessels. Um, so yada yada yada. You get a cut, white blood cells kind of flood the area, try and fight the infection. Um, is really where it boils down to. We'll talk more about it a little bit later here. So, what happens when you get the sun here? And I want you, I'm talking about suns, but also something else about here. Um, so burns can be caused by a couple things. You can get a sunburn. Sunburns can be first or second degree burns, but also you can get heat, you can get chemicals. So there are different types of burns, but they all fall under the same categories. A first degree is just the epidermis. Most mild sunburns, for example, if you, I don't know, if you run your hand, my mom, bless her heart, she puts basically boiling water when she washes the dishes. I can't stick it hurts too much. I could get a first degree burn from that. The outside of my skin hurts. It's fine. There's no actual damage, but like, ooh, that hurts. Or a mild sunburn, right? Those are first degree burns. It stays in the epidermis. Once it penetrates the dermis, you now have a second degree burn. So it goes through two layers of your skin. And then a third degree burn, well, it goes through either two layers of your skin really badly, or it hits all the way up to that hypodermis fatty area. But also, which one of these do you think is the most painful? It's not the third degree. The third degree has burned away all the nerve endings. It doesn't actually hurt. Third degree burns don't hurt that much. Second degree burns hurt a hell of a lot. Obviously, third degree burns are the deadliest of the bunch by far, but you don't have nerves. And again, you can get sunburns that are type 1 or type 2 damaging for sure. And obviously, that radiation can damage the cells and that can create like cancer, melanoma, or non-melanoma. If you guys have ever seen like the UV index thing, right? If it's like a 7 or a 6 or a 5, you should be wearing sunscreen. I don't wear a lot of sunscreen personally, unless I'm like going out to the beach. Like I'm a pretty pasty guy, so if I'm out in the sun for like more than an hour, I'll absolutely wear it. But otherwise, these are the worst things you should ever possibly do. Don't do it. You're literally giving yourself cancer. All right, so you have some essential questions here. So what are the four types of skin found? What are the four types of skin found in the system? And then what do they do? Epithelial covers. You have connective, which is supportive and protection. You have muscle, which is involved in body movement, and you have nerve, which is your communication network. So what does this skin, the integumentary system, actually do? Three things. What are they? I want you to pause the video. I want you to think about them. Don't look at your don't. So we do this because it helps you actually retain the information. Don't look at your notes. Pause the video. Think about it. Temperature regulation, both for cold and hot. Goosebumps, sweating, uh, fatty, heat retention, vitamin production, and then senses and protection. And then what are the two layers of skin composed of? You have the epidermis and the dermis. Below that isn't actually skin, it's fat. And then how does skin repair actually happen? Now, this wasn't in like the slideshow, this is in your textbook. How does it actually happen? Well, there's three phases. You have the inflammatory phase. Cell cleans the wound, those white blood cells rush in, and it stops blood flow. This is why your cuts eventually stop. The blood clots. This is why it gets swollen up. This is why it gets really hot. It's because all these things are flooding in, but also red blood cells are being stopped. Then there's the proliferation. So inflammatory to proliferation, your cells start to divide and cover the wound. It's a scab. You get a scab. That's what the proliferation is. It might not be a super thick scab, might be a really like light scab, but if you ever had like a even like a light scrape or a burn, oh, that's like a little bit harder. That's what that is. It's a proliferation. They start to spam divide, and the dead tissue rises to the top and blocks out. It creates a barrier. And then there's the remodeling phase, which is just the skin starts to repair itself. And this is why sometimes that skin can look different. Its full focus was it's trying to just fix the wound. It's not trying to make it look pretty, which is where you get scars from. Okay, so make sure you guys answer those essential questions, and away we go.